Hey, and welcome to the Shave Tank. Now, I wanted to make this video for quite some time, but as always I got into some research because I really wanted to research this topic thoroughly, to not tell you some bullshit, because I will get flamed for this video anyways. So here it goes. And the topic is straight razors. Since straight razors are now well, again, some topic of discussion. And yeah, straight razors. Some people say buy cheap ones, some people say buy expensive ones. Cheap ones are crap, and yeah, and all that. So I went into that, and I actually did multiple things. First, I took 4 straight razors and shaved with a straight razor daily now for about 2.5 weeks. Well, since my last video, I think it's 2.5 weeks or something like that. And I took a very cheap straight razor, a Gold Dollar, 2 middle range straight razors, HB Donovan and Ralph Aust, and a very expensive one, a Mastro Levy. Now, the cheapest one and the most expensive one I have actually here with me, just to show you those two. This is the Gold Dollar with these plastic handles. Paid $30 for it, of Northern Kimber, so came home to Northern Kimber. And this is the Mastro Levy. Here's the camera. Grifetto razor with olive wood handles here. So those were the test candidates. Now, so I shaved with those, little shaving experience, but I also wanted to get to know razors, and a few people know and have asking me, you studied chemistry, so tell us what's really going on with all the steel in those razors, and what's up with that, and why carbon steel, and when stainless steel, and what's up with all that. And I actually wasn't an expert on steel, because my main topic in studying was biochemistry. It's not really steel related, but of course I had to go through the basic courses with all the metallurgy and all that stuff. And I still had the books, so I was doing a lot of research in books and also online to get to know what's really what. And so first let's get into the whole steel issue and why steel could potentially be different and make a difference with razors. Now basically steel, any steel, like also this Gold Dollar here, is made from iron, and some steels add a lot of different stuff to the iron, like chrome, nickel, molybdenum, and many more. Then of course the steel gets heat treated in different ways, and then there are different methods on like you have to align like the structure of the steel. Of course, back in the days you did this by forging it, still done today also, and then there is like going over it with like a big presses and stuff like that if you do it in the industry. So, and then I was reading up about all the different types of steel, and there are actually lots and lots and lots and lots of different types of steel depending on what steel you want. Now let's narrow it down a little bit. What steel do we want for shaving? And that's actually quite a difficult thing, because steel for shaving has to have 2 very, very distinctive properties. The one is, of course, we have to have an edge on there somehow, and this edge has to be very, very sharp. So that would actually make sense to make the steel very, very hard, so you can like sharpen it with very, very fine stones to make this edge microscopically small, and that would work. But of course, if it's too brittle, then the thin sheet of metal that you need for racing would break off all the time. So that's not good. So you have to also have a little bit of flexibility in the steel, so that actually if you press, you shouldn't use force of course when racing, shaving, but when even the hairs pull like strain on the steel, it will flex a little bit. Of course a wedge will flex less than a full hollow, but it should still have a little bit of flex even on the very, very tiny end of the edge. Even a wedge razor has flex, but not of course in the structure of the whole blade, but in the very, very beginning of the edge. And actually when you are stropping the razor, you are not really sharpening it. In the common sense, all you do is like when the edge is flexed off in different directions, by stropping it you straighten it up again, and then it's when it's the sharpest. So that's actually what you're doing. You're not really taking anything off, or some people were saying like, are there nanoparticles flying off or something like that. No, you're not taking anything off with leather. You are just putting the very, very microscopic edge in the right direction again. So that's actually what you do when you're stropping. So does it make a huge difference where I buy a razor from and what steel is used? What steel is used, we already established as not really easy, but yes, it makes a difference. And now the question is there a difference between most razors? And I have to tell you, today's machine steel manufacturing and all these razors are from mass-produced steel. Most razors, we come to those that do not qualify for that later. But all the razors, all the gold dollars, and most of the razors from Solingen, like if you have a Revisor, Dovo, Aust, Puma, they all come from mass-produced steel pellets. And the razor maker does not actually make the steel or anything. What they get is like a plank, which is roughly the shape of the razor, and approximately slightly thicker than the backhand here of the razor. And then what they do is like they use different methods of grinding it down and shaping it to the final product and sharpening it to perfection. And of course there is a huge difference in how they make this and how the quality of this making is, because of course you're working with steel, and we already established that heating up steel a lot can damage the razor again. So you have to do all of that in the right temperature range to not damage the crystalline structure of the steel and all that. So that's actually how all of these razors are made, even the gold dollar. And actually the steel, the basic steel in these gold dollars, we got into this a little bit, and a friend of mine on the university in metallurgy, we tried at least a few possibilities where the steel could come from. The steel is quite a good steel for razors. Is it totally 100% comparable to the steel from Solingen? I don't know. It cannot be 100%, but it's quite a good steel actually. Why is it then so cheap? It's just because the Chinese, like, there's a lot of labor intensive work going into the steel planks here, and like, yeah, they basically use a form of slavery to make this. So yeah, but then that's with all products, like they also use a form of slavery to make this. So, but that's a philosophical topic. But basically the steel is good, very good. What the Chinese just suck at is making this a sharp razor. That's why you get, if you get the gold dollar from China, most of the time it will be dull and you will not be able to shave with it. So it has to get honed by someone properly. Like for example, mine is honed by Nolan Kimber, I think I said it already. And then this razor is pretty sharp. And of course this is not the case if I buy a razor, for example, from Ralph Ost. The Ralph Ost razor came beautifully finished first of the time, so this finish has a lot of to be desired, like the scales are not really aligned correctly, the one scale is higher than the other, they are really cheap plastic, even though they look carbon-like, it's cheapest plastic. Even the gold dollar stuff on here does come off from with time. It's not done that well. It has really, it's just not nice. There are a lot of spots that you can see that this is not good workmanship. But Nolan Kimber did an excellent job in honing this, and it has an excellently sharp edge and shaves actually really nice. Strop it, invest something in the upkeep, and you have a really nice razor. Same goes for all the razors from Solingen that I've tried. Like I said, I have an Ost and an HP Donovan, which the blank also comes from Solingen, and I think actually it's manufactured by Dovo, but I'm not 100% on that. And yeah, so also quite good steel, and that's okay. Now people of course ask, then why, like this is like 30 bucks and like an Ost is 100, 200 bucks, why would I buy an Ralph Ost? Very simple, it's much more beautifully manufactured. It already comes shave ready, you don't have to send it to anyone, the scales will be from excellent wood, it will open and close without you worrying of hitting the edge on the scales, and so the whole finish of the razor will be worth it, because there is a lot of hand labor involved in that, and hand labor in Germany is not as cheap. So is it worth the 100, 200 bucks over this one? Yes, I think so. Simply because it's much nicer. Not because it shaves better, it's much nicer. But then there is a few, or actually I only know of Mastro Livi. So we're going to talk about this now. Is there a difference in the steel here? Yes. Why? Very simple, because Mastro Livi, he of course also gets steel from different sources, but he really hand selects the sources where he gets his steel from, and in this case this is the Grifetto razor. He also gets some sort of a blank, which is already roughly in the form of the razor. With his other razors he actually cuts the razor blank himself out of the steel, and before he cuts it out of the steel he reforges the steel, and often, like when he does his own Damascus razors, he does the Damascus layering himself, so he puts plates of different steel together, forges them together, screws them or bends them, however you want the lines of the Damascus to go, reforges them, and this of course will give the steel very different properties. If you are a master like Mastro Livi, then of course you can make a real huge difference in the steel properties. And even looking at this steel with an very high resolution microscope at the university, comparing it to the other razors, actually you can already see, because even this, if he gets these blanks are reforged, reheated, reforged, hammered down, so that the structure of the steel in the direction where it should be hard, like this direction, so this direction should be the hardest direction, it is very, very more homogeneous than some other razors and some other steels in razors. So if it's more homogeneous, then it will have the same properties in the whole plate, and durability and all that will increase. Then of course the next thing you might already see is that even though this the plate here is not mirror polished, and I don't know, the camera doesn't pick it up, I think. With other razors that have not mirror polished things, but even in the mirror polishment, if you look at it under a microscope, you will see that the lines down the razor will go, there will be lines that are out of order, like you could say. Here everything is lined up perfectly from up here in this downward direction. So this is absolutely nice. So the steel, of course, due to it being handmade steel, you can't really tell what the final properties are from a manufacturing standpoint, because only Mastro Livi knows how he does it. So of course he has a lot of experience in how to do it for razors, and trust me when I say you will feel the difference. So next thing, of course, is with this. This is just perfectly made. I mean, the scale alignment is absolutely correct. So there is nothing that's above. It's the whole. If you touch it, it's extremely smooth. There is no uneven things or anything in it. Even on the inside, it's absolutely smooth. If you look here, if you like close the razor, it's perfectly center. And even the hinges, you can screw this out and take the razor blade out if you want. Everything is made really, really nice, and you even have the hand signature of Mastro Livi in here, and here it says Grifetto and inox at the end here, because this is stainless steel. So what I didn't think until I got that is that it would make a difference in shaving. I thought this would be a really, really nice razor, and it is, but I was thinking, since from my experience and also from the last 2.5 weeks of shaving, the Goat Dollar does shave the same as the Ost, as the Donovan. If you have a good edge on there, it's the same. Then I got this, and I'm sorry if you guys will flame me down now or something, whatever. This is different when shaving. And if you never shaved with a Mastro Livi, then you probably can't tell, but even this Grifetto, which is the cheapest entry-level razor of Mastro Livi's razors, it's just, I can't explain it. It feels totally different. You can put it on and just let gravity do its work. It's hellish sharp. I've never experienced something so sharp and still so smooth over my skin. Like, I shaved actually earlier now with it, and there is no razor burn, nothing. It feels baby smooth. Most of the times I have to do one pass and then I do a little touch up, like on the hard spots here, and on the chin upwards, and I'm good. It's not baby smooth because I was in a hurry, but it's very, very smooth. There is no burn or anything. It's absolutely fantastic. And you strop it a little bit. You sometimes I just do a little bit of hand stropping to freshen it up, and it runs absolutely perfect. I was amazed that it makes a difference, but it does make a difference. Even more so because it's stainless steel, and some people claim that stainless steel is not as sharp as carbon steel, which is bullcrap, by the way. It's just that carbon steel is easier to make very sharp, and stainless steel to make it very, very sharp, it takes a lot of work. So of course the stainless steel planks that you get from different companies, they are sometimes not as sharp and smooth as, for example, carbon steel blades, and this is why a lot of people say they prefer carbon steel blades. But try a stainless steel from Mastro-Levi and it will be sharper than all the carbon steel razors you got from mass production. And I know I will get flamed for this, but it is true. And you get this very, very beautiful razor where you know that the master worked on it. You get it with a box, of course, in the same wood style. And even the box is made perfect. I mean, the whole mechanism, it's this ledge, even though it looks like a very thin piece, it works perfectly. So the whole experience is different. I didn't think, I actually thought that I would get a very beautiful artwork and it would not shave different than any other razor I have, but boy, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And having a very, very long talk with my friend at the Metallurgy Institute here, he said also, yes, if he has like seen different blades and steel from like also Japanese blade masters and stuff like that, he says, yes, if a human has the skills to reforge the steel in the right way, it's better than anything any machine can make. And so this is probably why this is such a great razor and such a great shaver. So if you can afford to get this, it's an awesome piece, and yes, it does make a difference. But we come to another mystery, and that is people saying that, for example, the Gold Dollar does not hold its edge as long as other razors. And I have to say, I didn't experience that. Because honestly, I'm not the best man at stropping and everything. And all my razors have a good edge because they are owned by good people. Not myself, but by people who really know what they're doing, like Norman Kim. Or if as of course the Mastro-Levi, I can send back to Mastro-Levi to have it honed. But it's only like 3 weeks old, so no need for that. Does it hold the edge longer? Well, also talked to my buddy a lot about this, and he said, yes, of course, there is the possibility that different sorts of steel hold the edge longer. And it doesn't depend on carbon steel or stainless steel. As I said, stainless steel is not necessarily worse than carbon steel or vice versa. You just have to have a very, very good quality. For example, Victorinox, the company that does the steel for the Swiss Army knives, their stainless steel is hellish sharp. Of course, it's a little bit simpler to do it like they do it because also the blades are very, very thin, and if you like, that's what he tells me, if you make very, very thin planks on which you can cut down, then it's easier to get stainless steel very, very sharp. But yeah, so that's not really the issue. And of course, a lot of razors were made from carbon steel historically, because carbon steel was a lot easier to make when industrialization began, and the stainless steel was needed for other things. So there wasn't that much stainless steel to go around. So it's all a historical thing. So do they hold the edge longer or not? Different steels. Yes, there is the possibility, but then he also said, like with all the swords he had analyzed and everything, the upkeep by the user plays a tremendous role on if an edge key is kept good or not. How the edge on the razor works. If you really strop it the right way all the time, if you sometimes use like an abrasive paste or not, how you strop it, if you have a pull strop, or if you have a strop on handle, and all these different methods, and how you hold the blade, if you press it on more or less, and all these factors, he says, will probably have a lot huger effect than the steel of the razor, because the steel will be pretty okay. And last but not least, a lot of people asked if vintage razors are better than. So if like there's some voodoo vintage steel that it's really, really good. And well, there are two sides of that. Of course, there are if you go really vintage, then of course there are some smithed razors from artisans like Master Rivi that were a little bit more common back in the day. And if you get one of their razors, then it's probably still as good as them. If you get vintage razors that are like from the era of World War I or World War II, then they are probably worse steel than what you get now, because all the good steel was used for arms and all that, and the bad steel was used for making razors. So yeah, that's that. So you can see this a lot. He said he had actually a lot of World War I razors that he analyzed, and they already had like chips missing from the blade and everything, and all this breaking off and stuff happens either from rust, of course, if it's carbon steel and they're not kept well, but also if the steel has like imperfections in it, then it also might break off. So that's also a factor. So and of course the most important questions that I get asked all the time: what should I buy now? What should I go out and buy? And where should I invest my money in if I'm starting out wedge shaving with a straight? I would recommend, and this will get me the most flames, and please don't quit my channel. So I would say buy a cheap gold dollar and find out first if you actually like straight shaving, or buy a Chavette or something cheap, something that will get you started for 20-30 bucks or something like that. Either a gold dollar or, I mean, Chavette shaving is different, let's face it. I would go with a gold dollar, either from, if you are in Europe, from Nolan Kimber, or if you're in the States, from Stallion. Try wedge shaving with that. It has, if you get it from them, it will have a good edge. Mine still works perfectly, and you'll shave okay with this, no doubt. You don't need to get something else as a first starter kit. If you say, okay, I'm really into shaving and I want to treat myself to a razor that I will have for the rest of my life, then should I buy something else first? No. Go for this. Go for the Grifetto from Mastrolivi. It's the cheapest razor in his lineup. It's still very expensive, of course, compared to other razors. It's 300 bucks. But it's a work of art, and it's not comparable to other razors in my book. From the shaving experience, you will have a totally different shaving experience with this. I'm so hooked on this. I'm getting a second one, not the Grifetto actually a different razor, and just because it's such an awesome razor, so I'm totally hooked on this. So this was a rather long episode of the Shave Tank, but then you have to wait a little bit for the next video again, because I'm going sailing. So I'll be away for a bit, but don't worry, I'll be back. I still hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. And I hope I got those things right. At least this is my experience that I made with straight razors, and there will be a lot of straight razor videos, of course, coming up. Me shaving with straight razors and testing soap with straight razors, because yeah, I'm hooked. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Let's all high five, and let's see you next time.